Yeah. Do you want it? No. Okay. Yeah. Because someone might just go through this.
It's all good.
If you want it, I'll approach you really quick.
Sure, I'll do it. I'll just put it in 2 pieces. Thank you. Just this.
You got it, man?
Hey folks, thanks so much for joining me here on Wave Now. I'm Myra Ansari. We are going live to a press conference regarding 2 families who are filing a wrongful death lawsuit following the deadly UPS plane crash that happened on November 4th. The litigation is on behalf of Angela Anderson, who was a mother and customer of Grade A Auto Parts, and Trina Chavez, a mother and employee of Grade A Auto Parts. So both were killed during the crash. This is a live look at this press conference that is about to start here shortly. Grade A Auto Parts was hit by the plane when it crashed, killing 14 people, including the 3 crew members aboard that plane, and injured 23 others. The NTSB reports noted that the plane's left engine and left pylon detached from the wing during takeoff. The lawsuit claims negligence against several companies. Those include UPS, GE, the engine manufacturer, and VT San Antonio Aerospace Incorporated. Now, those lawsuits are being filed by Clifford, law offices of Chicago, along with Sam Aguiar, injury lawyers of Louisville. And this is following Morgan & Morgan, who last month filed a class action suit on behalf of 3 other plaintiffs impacted by this crash. So we wanted to bring this press conference to you live here as it's getting started so you can listen in.
White House.
I'm going to be bringing in family members now. They're going to be coming in with the over there, and keep it over there. So would it help if I have them come around in front of the reporters? Probably. Okay, could you open that then? And just go, do you need a chair? No. And the blue chairs are over there for you? Okay. Excuse me. Here. Okay, I'm now going to bring everybody in. Everybody rolling?
Afternoon now.
Everybody coming in, please. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna, if everyone could please sit down, thank you so much. And their name tags in front, but I'm gonna have, either Sam or Brad start by introducing yourselves and your clients here.
Good afternoon. My name is Brad Cosgrove. I am here from Chicago from the Clifford Law Offices, and I'm here together with my law partner, Tracy Brandmeier, and with 2 of our representatives of clients of lawsuits that were filed today. I have sitting directly to my right, Lexi Faith, who is here representing the estate of her mother, Angela Anderson. And then directly to my left, we have Gabby Hermoso Hermosillo Nunez, who's here representing her sister on behalf of her daughter and son, or excuse me, her son Freddie. And also to my left, I have Sam and his partner. I have Sam, who's going to introduce himself and his partner.
Hey guys, Sam Aguiar right here, and we've also got John Holland from our office, law partner and lead trial lawyer, and then so we got Gabby right here. Y'all be nice.
Okay, so I think the family members would like to make some statements, and Lexi, are you gonna be speaking?
No, he'll be,
Okay.
John Holland's going to do that on behalf of.
Reading it. So why don't we start then, if it's okay, Gabby, would you like to start then with?
Excuse me real quick, you guys. Can you guys speak loudly so our mics can pick?
Yeah, the mics have to pick up everything
Yeah, thank you so
across.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So Gabby, if we would start with you with the statement that she would like to have everyone know about. Gabby, please go ahead.
Before I talk about my sister and get very emotional, there's something important for me to acknowledge. On behalf of my entire family, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our loved ones, especially my siblings, our friends, and every person who has shown up for us during this incredibly difficult time. Your support has meant more than we can ever express. As a dispatcher for the Louisville Regional Airport's Department of Public Safety, I would also like to personally thank the first responders who answered during the crash involving UPS Flight 2976. There are so many of you whose efforts made a difference, far too many to name, but I want to acknowledge just a few. The Kentucky Air National Guard Fire Department, Okolona Fire and EMS, the Louisville Fire Department, the Louisville Emergency Management Agency, the NTSB, the Jefferson County Coroner's Office, the Jefferson and Bullitt County Fire Departments, and of course, the Louisville Regional Airport's Department of Public Safety. I would also like to thank LMPD's Victim Services Unit for their compassion and professionalism. A very special thanks goes to Joni Sanders. My family and I absolutely adore you. To all of you, please know that your hard work, dedication, and unwavering commitment have not gone unnoticed. We are deeply grateful. Now about my sister, Trina Chavez, the heart and soul of this family. As most of you know from what has already been reported and published in her obituary, Trina was a sister, mother, and friend to everyone. But she was also much more than that. Nana really was the heartbeat of this family. We're a big family, 9 siblings, and Nana was the oldest. Our childhood wasn't easy, but we made it, and this is primarily because Nana sacrificed everything for us when we were growing up, while others her age were living their childhoods. Nana, who was a child herself, was feeding us, changing our diapers, teaching us, protecting us, and showering us with love. We all have our Trina stories that are unique, personal, and meaningful. There are too many to count, and it's not my place to share the individual memories that are held by my brothers and sisters. Now I want you to know why it's so important for me to be here, standing up for Nana and what happened to her. You see, that's what she always did. She stood up for us, protected us, looked out for us. I am where I am today because of Trinidad Chavez. Everyone in my family knew that I wanted to break the mold, graduate high school, live the college experience, make my family proud by being the first to get a degree, and see and experience some of the amazing things the world has to offer. But this wasn't possible. Nana and I had brothers and sisters who were counting on us to help raise them. I needed to stay and help her with that. But Nana would not let me stay, no matter what I said. She didn't want to hear it. I was going to college if she had to tie me up, drive me there, and drop me off at the dorm. Like she'd done for me for my whole life, she sacrificed everything again. And because of her, I did go to college, graduate, see the world, and get jobs I love. This is who Nana was. Today, we're blessed still to have daily reminders of her through her beautiful son and daughter. They're minors, and we appreciate your understanding and your respect for our request that they not be contacted during these times. But know they are amazing, and we cherish every minute with them. We want to make Nana proud and do for her children what Nana always did for us, care for them and protect them. That's why we're prepared to do what's necessary with the support of our attorneys to make sure that there is accountability and that Nana's children are taken care of. So while we're focused on these children and helping them through these challenges, we're trusting our lawyers to do what it takes to get answers and secure the future of Nana's babies. And we intend to stand up for Nana and fight for her however long it takes, just like Nana always did for us.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you very much. John, did you want to read the statement? And I think we're going to first turn the pictures around, Tracy. It was very hard. Thank you. On behalf of your whole family.
Folks, on the behalf of Lexi Faith, who's the administrator, co-administrator of the estate of Angela Anderson, it was found to be that she was going to have a very hard time reading her statement, but she wanted to make sure that everybody did have her statement and hear her words. And we elected to make sure that we're still able to get her statement out for you to hear, and that the statement's going to be read to you with her permission to make sure that her words get out to you. Thank you.
The past month has been incredibly difficult. For all the other families dealing with this, we're thinking of you too. My mom was loved by many, and we're grateful to everyone who has shared beautiful memories and photos of her. Like a lot of us, she had some challenges in the past, but I know how hard she had been fighting to overcome them. I was proud of her efforts, but I'm now living with the regret that I didn't tell her before it was too late. It doesn't feel real that I never will. I just wish I could see her, hug her, and tell her I was proud of everything she was working to accomplish. I hope she's looking down now, knowing that she was loved by many, and that we're working to do what it takes to preserve her legacy and to reduce the chances that other families and friends and loved ones ever have to go through something like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the families here present today for the estate of Angela Anderson, and on behalf of Trina Chavez, the Clifford Law offices here in conjunction with our co-counsel on the case, Sam Aguiar's office, have filed the first 2 wrongful death lawsuits in this plane crash. These cases were filed in Jefferson Circuit Court this morning, and they have been assigned to Judge Patricia Morris for the case that was originally filed, or the first case that was filed. The cases were filed on behalf of these 2 estates, and the cases are to take place in state court here in Louisville. The lawsuit has been brought against several defendants, and I'd like to take an opportunity to talk to you about the reasons why this lawsuit was filed on behalf of the families. We took time to make sure that we understood the objectives of why these lawsuits were filed, and we wanted to make sure that we came up with the right answers. And there's really 3 reasons why the lawsuits have been filed in the case. First and foremost, we're looking for answers and accountability. We're trying to find out why it is that this happened and to put the families in charge of having power to try to uncover and figure out what it is that went wrong to cause this crash. As it relates to their second objective for filing, they're looking for reform that leads to prevention, to make sure that no other individuals have to die in vain like their loved ones did. The lawsuit has an intention of making sure that this never happens to anyone else in the future. And finally, and most importantly, the families are here for justice. We're here to make sure that those who are responsible for this crash have to pay in responsibility to make sure it doesn't happen and there are no other needless victims of a plane crash like this. We filed the lawsuit against UPS, or United Parcel Services, Inc., and UPS, United Parcel Services Co., Air, with a third defendant as GE, Boeing, and a company named VT San Antonio Aerospace, Inc., who was the authorized maintenance and repair station involved in major repairs or heavy maintenance that took place on the aircraft less than 3 weeks prior to the crash and at some years prior. We filed a lawsuit here looking to make sure that we get answers. We believe that the failures that led to this crash were failures that could have been prevented, that should have been prevented, and this plane should never have been airworthy to be in the air that day, and this crash was preventable, and we hope to find all of the reasons why it was preventable and to make sure that we accomplish our 3 litigation objectives that I've set forth for each one of you. On behalf of the estates, my partner, Tracy Brandmeier, also is going to make a statement, and I'll pass the torch to her.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would just add to Mr. Cosgrove's statements about the lawsuit that we will be undertaking an investigation into how exactly this happened contemporaneously with other investigating authorities. Our own investigation and our own work in this case will be not only to uncover the immediate cause of this crash, meaning what exactly went wrong on this aircraft that allowed this to occur, but going beyond that, how this unairworthy condition was allowed to develop in the first place on the crash. What happened at these corporations that they allowed an airplane that was in this condition to continue to be flown at the risk of not only the people on the airplane, but at the risk of all the communities surrounding the airplane. Allowing an airplane in this condition to take off from an airport in a community full of innocent people, loaded completely with fuel, is it's completely unforgivable. And so our work will be to figure out exactly how that happened, who allowed it to happen, and why they allowed it to happen.
There's some additional information that we'd like to discuss, but before we do that, we wanted to open up to questions if anybody had any specific questions that they wanted to answer or wanted to ask for answers. Sir.
In the NTSB preliminary report, they talked about some of the stress fractures that you could see on the pylons. Does this indicate to you all that this is something that could have been seen by these companies before it resulted in this catastrophic failure?
It's an excellent question. Thank you for asking. If you see at the NTSB report that at the bottom of the report towards the end, there's a reference made to a 1979 crash that took place in Chicago. My office, Clifford Law Offices, was extremely involved in that crash. Robert Clifford, one of the lead counsels on this case, also was one of the lead counsels on the American Airlines Flight 191 crash, where the DC-10 also had a left engine detached from the left wing and caused a catastrophic failure that claimed the lives of more than 200 individuals. The long story short on what you're talking about, specifically asked, is we think that the lessons from 1979 we had hoped would have been passed along over the years, specifically on the MD-11 aircraft, which essentially is a more updated and more sophisticated DC-10. Our hope and expectation over the years is that the aviation world, including the defendants in this case, would have learned from the mistakes made back in 1979. I mean, if you think, how far has our world come since 1979 in engineering and safety? We had hoped that a crash like this would never happen, that we would never be sitting here in a situation where an airplane's engines, here a GE CF 6-80, how could you imagine that same exact failure could happen again in the future? So to answer the question directly, the NTSB's report indicated that there was stress fatigue noted in the pylon and in the lug assemblies. We think that those would have been longstanding defects that should have been found and fixed long before this aged aircraft was continued to be pressed to its max by UPS over and over and over and over with more than 21,000 cycles under its belt.
Did you want to explain the pictures in the back as to who they are, please?
Sure. Sam, do you want to do this?
I'm happy to, and also shame on me. We've also got some wonderful members of Trina's family that are sitting over here. And I just wanted to acknowledge them. It's not easy for them to be here today. And we're certainly, very, very thankful that you're here. I look at you all as family. So having you by our side means a lot. Now, these pictures kind of speak for themselves to the extent that that's who she embodied right there. Gabby, you want to talk or you want me to talk? Okay. Well, you heard a lot from Gabby about how the self-sacrifices that Trina made. But one of the things that's amazing about this group right here is that their self-sacrifice right now is making sure that these two children grow up with multiple fathers and multiple mothers. And Trina was a mother since she was a child herself. We wanted to make sure that when we reached out to the family that they had an opportunity to pick out their favorite photos. And that's one of them right there. And there were some others that we had done too. But this time of year, it's we just appreciate everybody that's been reaching out. The family's received a lot of support right now. And just to echo what Gabby said, we do appreciate right now that you all recognize that these two children are minors and that we're working, really hard right now to make sure that they have a stable home and that they're off limits right now.
I guess you did just kind of mention that it is the time.
Would you mind just 1 second? I just want the opportunity
please,
to also
yeah.
introduce I would also like to introduce the other individual and then we'll answer your question next. Is that okay? I apologize. I don't mean to step on your toes. Thank you. Also behind, we have a photograph that was selected of Angela Anderson. And I think you'll see, and you probably have seen through the press, that Angela had 4 children. Here, sitting directly next to me is Lexi. I think her God-given name or mom-given name is Alexandria Faith, but she goes by Lexi. And this is one of their favorite pictures and one of the best pictures that we wanted to provide to you folks of her mom. So there you go.
And it's not, she was a family member here as well.
Thank you, Pam. Do you have any other questions?
I was just gonna say, Sammy kind of mentioned that this is already a difficult time. It's a month out, and then it is the holidays too. Why bring forward this lawsuit now?
Well, obviously I've got the best aviation attorneys with me here, and I thankfully that they were willing to come in and really take the lead on this. I certainly defer to them, but in a situation like this, all I'll say is that it seems like every day you start looking online and you see some more people that are willing to speak out, even from over at UPS. And, when you hear things like, there was a crash, oh my gosh, it must have been an MD-11, to me, it's, even though they're grounded right now, there's all these people speaking out. It seems like something like this may even enhance the efforts over there for them to really expedite what they're doing, to really give some more answers and to make sure that these types of planes do not get up in the air again. Again, it's I'm grateful when I see online that there's people, I know how hard it is to whistleblow. And when you start seeing people that work for this company coming out themselves and saying the things that they're saying, I think it's critical for somebody like, I wanted to make sure that we have the best aviation attorneys in the world take the lead on this. And we do. So you don't get answers a lot of times with these lawsuits until you get to conduct discovery. And if you just sit around and wait for them to hopefully do the right thing, you're not getting the answers that you want.
Can I follow up and also answer just your question for a second on why file it at this point? There's an old adage in the world of victims that are subject to tragedies that happen like this. And it's something that are words to live by. They say that justice delayed is justice denied. Every day that you wait to take action in a legal case can cause evidence to disappear, can cause information to grow old, and to cause memories to fade by the people that are most involved. And the longer you wait, the more it only helps the people that caused the crash, because it's less fresh in everyone's mind. People's memories fade. The sooner we can get this case to justice, the better off it'll be for the victims. The longer that this case takes to come to fruition, the better and the more it helps the people that caused it. So, like I say, justice delayed is justice denied, and there's no reason to delay it here.
Outside of the obvious win that you're seeking, what is the best case scenario for how you hope a case like this can change the systems that you are looking into as for why this crash happened?
It's an excellent question. Thank you. If you look currently at the emergency airworthy directives that have come from the FAA, these planes, both MD-11s and all DC-10s, are all grounded. They're grounded throughout the United States, and they're grounded throughout the United States. And there was recently a letter that was sent by Bill Moore, the president of UPS Airlines, who indicated that rather than these planes being kind of grounded, if you will, for weeks, which I think was UPS's original feeling, that these are actually going to be grounded for months. And what does that tell us? The fact that it's going to take months to make sure that these planes are safe and airworthy means that there's lots of things that need to be fixed on these planes if they're ever going to get back in the sky. And for right now, step one of grounding all these planes is a step in the right direction. Step two of making sure the planes are safe to be in the air are great steps, but unfortunately, step two in this case is too late and it comes too late, and it comes after a time where a tragedy has already happened. The point of these types of systems in place are to make sure that you're getting ahead of tragedy, not trying to do what we call in this world graveyard engineering. Trying to fix these problems after the fact does not in any way fix the harms and losses that happen to our clients, the harms and losses that happen to the 14 different deaths and to the countless others that were injured and affected by this crash. We're here to make sure that they get the justice that they deserve and that others similarly situated to the people that are here in this room get their day in court.
Are there any other questions from anybody?
Tracy, you had mentioned that, you guys are going beyond the investigation of what had happened and looking at how this, in your words, unairworthy aircraft was allowed to fly. What does that type of discovery look like? What does that investigation entail?
Sure. Our investigation will involve using the legal process, which is now available to us since we have filed this lawsuit, to obtain documents which are currently not publicly available, documents which are being submitted by the various defendants in this case to the NTSB as part of that investigation, as well as other documents that we believe may exist. Records related specifically to this aircraft, records related to the MD-11 model aircraft and known problems with that aircraft that are in the possession of all of the various defendants in this case. Taking testimony from various individuals who were involved in this aircraft at their various entities. Talking to experts in the industry about the airworthiness requirements of an aircraft like this one, as well as how to assess and determine whether or not an aircraft should be continuing to operate, in whatever condition that it's in. So that's kind of a broad overview of what that investigation entails.
Sometimes they talk about the powers of litigation. If you take, for instance, a victim in a crash like this, most people look at the victims as helpless, right? They're not huge companies. They're not multi-billion-dollar businesses like the people that we're up against in the case. They don't have all of those powers. They're helpless people. And what the power of a lawsuit does is it takes the helpless and it puts power in their hands. And there's really 4 powers that you get by filing a lawsuit. You have number 1, subpoena power. Subpoena power allows us to issue something called the subpoena duces tecum that allows us to get documents from others. We can get documents that aren't available to the helpless now that we have subpoena power. Number 2, we have something called requests to produce in discovery. Those are document requests that go out to the individuals that are involved, the defendants in the case. That allows us to get all of the documents and materials that otherwise these helpless victims would not be able to get. If I called Boeing up tomorrow and said, please voluntarily turn over all of the maintenance records that you have involved with this plane, do you think that they would send it to me voluntarily? Do you think they would send it to you, the press? No. The power of litigation gives it the strength, the helpless, the strength to actually make the court get in order that the defendants have to give us the documents so that we can tell you what really happened here. Number three, the third power that you get with a lawsuit is you have the right to have something called interrogatories. An interrogatory is a written question that needs to be answered under oath. The power of getting answers under oath are subject to perjury. They have to answer the questions with honesty, with full diligence, and they have to give you answers to information that otherwise they wouldn't have to answer. If you call them up on the phone, they don't have to answer. But in the legal process, they do have to. And then the fourth thing that we have the power to do that the helpless otherwise wouldn't have the right to do would be to take oral depositions where somebody has to sit in a room across the desk from me, from Tracy, from John, from Sam, and they have to be able to look us in the eye, and they have to be under oath with a court reporter present, videographer present, and they have to answer questions where we can confront them with the documents that are obtained, and they have to answer questions subject to perjury. These are four powers that the otherwise helpless people who were the victims of this crash wouldn't otherwise have if we didn't get this case started and we didn't file a lawsuit.
And you think that NTSB investigation won't go far enough?
Well, that's not exactly the standard. I will tell you that we have a high regard for the NTSB, and the NTSB has specific purposes for their work, and we have specific purposes for our work. We have resources that will allow us to obtain our objectives, and I've already delineated our objectives. Those objectives are not the same objectives that the NTSB has. The NTSB has a job to make sure that this crash is investigated and we get to various pieces of information. There's a requirement to set out a preliminary report and then a final report. Those documents have limited import in the litigation specifically. The litigation, we have a right to take discovery of all individuals that have knowledge, and it is a much different power than the NTSB's investigative arm. That's a federal government responsibility.
Can I add to that?
Please.
With regard to the NTSB investigation, as Brad mentioned, we have full faith in the NTSB. They do excellent work, but they do have different objectives. And the principal difference is the NTSB is really looking to determine the probable cause of the crash in order to decide whether or not there should be reforms instituted. And of course, reforms are one of the goals of the families. The NTSB, however, is not responsible for or looking to find fault, hold anybody accountable. They're not seeking justice on anybody's behalf. And so that's where the interest of the family diverges from the NTSB. The families in this case are entitled to seek justice on behalf of their loved ones who were killed as a result of this occurrence. And that justice seeking mission is an important part of our legal system here. The other thing is that the NTSB investigation does involve the various defendants that we've named in this case. However, the families themselves do not participate in the NTSB investigation. And so their ability to investigate the case and have somebody being representing their interests in the case, and so not only the defendant's interests are represented in the investigation, is only accomplished via the filing of a lawsuit and by lawyers like us conducting our own simultaneous investigation concurrently with that of the NTSB.
You mentioned that this is the first set of wrongful death lawsuits. Can we expect you guys to file any more with maybe any other of the people impacted?
I think it's an absolute certainty that other individuals will end up filing lawsuits as the time progresses. As it relates to other clients at this time, I can tell you that we know there's many injuries and many deaths. As it relates to what's going to happen with other clients, I'm not comfortable commenting on that topic right now, but you can be assured that other cases will be filed, I'm sure, at some point.
If there are no other questions, I want to make it clear that there's the copies of the complaints that were filed this morning on behalf of the two families that you're welcome to take. And if anybody has any other questions, otherwise I'm going to have everyone. Is that okay?
Kim, did you make photographs available in like a electronic format? I appreciate that.
Yes, And we also have the complaints that are on our websites, which is also Sam's website. I put it in the press release. And, we also are gonna put the photos up and, the statements that you heard, okay? Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Happy holidays.
And
Yep,
family
happy holidays,
members, please come also forward. Thank you.
All right, folks, thanks so much for staying with us. You heard from the attorneys and the family members of Angela Anderson and Trina Chavez, kind of explaining why their families are filing this lawsuit against UPS, GE, and VT San Antonio Aerospace. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia Franceschini is on this story for us. He's going to have much more coming up later here on Wave. I'm Myra Ansari. I'll see you on Wave News at 3 o'clock. Have a great day.